Alright, headed down 95 South today. We're going to pick up some Sega Saturn stuff and some Super Famicom stuff, so let's go get it. Alright, let's go over the pickup, and then after this we'll go over and we'll take the American version of each one and put them up against their Japanese versions, see what the differences are, and do a little gameplay on some of them. So let's start off with the Sega Saturn. Let's open the box real quick. So we got controller, power and video cables, and we've got our Sega Saturn right there. Let's look at our games we got. We got Virtua Fighter 2, Resident Evil Biohazard, Rig Lord Saga, don't know what that is, Enemy Zero, Aqua World, Puzzle Bobble 2, I don't know what that is because I can't speak Japanese, or I can't read Japanese, sorry. Side Pocket 3, and some kind of driving game. Let's go over here to the Super Famicom. Open this up real quick. So we've got our Super Famicom, which is in really good shape. 2 controllers. Got your video cable in there. If you ever get one, you need to use a Sega Genesis Model 1 power supply for these. And let's go over the game list here. We got Mega Man X3, Rockman X. You got Super Metroid, Street Fighter, Super Scope 1, 2, 3. You got some Bombermans. All right. You got, what's that? Top Racer 2. Don't know what that is. That's a soccer game. Strike Gunner. Don't know what that is. 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 So I'll tell you right now what I paid. The Sega Saturn lot, he wanted $160, but I got it for $150. And he wanted, and I gave him the $150 for the Super Famicom stuff. So all in all, I paid $300 total for all this. So what we'll do now is I'm going to go get a TV, and then we're going to hook some things up. We're going to play some stuff, and then also I'm going to bring out the American version of each one. Alright, so check it out. So we've got our Japanese Saturn, our American Saturn, our Super Famicom, and our Super Nintendo. And let's just look at the differences here. Not too much on the Saturn stuff. Pretty much just the color, really. You know, if you look at both of them, got the same shape, same controller ports, got the same inputs on the back side. So they're pretty much the same, you know, except for the colors. This one is actually a Model 2 Saturn, and the Japanese one I got is a Model 1, and you can tell by the power and reset buttons. If you look at these, and that's a Model 1 compared to a Model 2, which is just round buttons. And then let's go look at our Super Nintendo and Famicom here. Now, big difference in these. I mean, if you look at the Super Famicom, it's more of a sleek design, which I prefer the Super Famicom over the Super Nintendo look. Super Nintendo is okay, but just the Super Famicom to me just looks way better. And I mean, they've got the same controller ports, so a Super Famicom controller can go on a Super Nintendo and vice versa. The same inputs in the back. The only difference is the Super Famicom will not take a Super Nintendo power supply, but like I told you, you need to use a Sega Genesis Model 1 type power supply. So even if you could use the Super Nintendo, you wouldn't want to do it. And I do have, so I pulled out one of my Sega Genesis Model 1 power supplies right there. So pretty much there's that. And also with the Super Nintendo versus the Famicom, if you look, where the game goes in, they're way different. And that's because the cartridges are way different too. So Super Famicom versus Super Nintendo. And I mean, you can see a big difference. The Super Famicom cartridge is a little bit smaller. Also, you don't have the alignment indents right there. See that right there? And then you can play Super Famicom games on a Super Nintendo. What you're gonna have, because it'll fit in there, but you know, a Super Nintendo game will not fit in a Super Famicom. So what you'd have to do is either get an adapter, which you can buy an adapter for the Super Famicom too, but either you get an adapter, you put the adapter on your game, and then you can put it in here, or take the Super Nintendo apart, and then if you see in there, let's see, right there, that's where those alignment indents go. And what you got to do is you got to take that piece out, and you got to grind off those tabs right there, and then you can put the Super Famicom games in there. But it's kind of easier just to buy the adapter if you're going to do it that way. So if you want to play, say, Japanese titles on an American, or if you want to play American titles on a Japanese Saturn, the only thing you'll need is an action replay. And that goes in your cartridge slot like that. You put your game in, and it'll load the action replay. And well, let's look at the controllers too. Forgot to do that. So that's a Japanese one, and that's a US version. Again, it's more on this, it's more the color. If you look at the Super Famicom versus the Super Nintendo, the Super Famicom has the same shape, but it seems like it's more brighter, you know, the buttons. And again, I prefer the Super Famicom over the Super Nintendo. Alright, so let's play our Japanese Saturn real quick. So we got our action replay in the cartridge slot. We've got our American version of Sonic R chilling in there. Let's turn it on. So you got your action replay. Now, you also, with action replay, you can save stuff to the cart. You can use cheat codes, which is pretty cool. And we're just going to start the game. So you press start. And then we're going to start without cheat codes. But if you wanted cheat codes, there you go. Yeah, whatever. Sonic. Alright, Resort Island. Do a little gameplay for you. I can't even remember how to play this game. Man, I'm not doing too good already. Whoa. Man, maybe I shouldn't do some gameplay for you. I'm just sucking right now. I haven't played this game in forever. Oop, man. Alright, before I embarrass myself anymore, I'm going to just stop that, and we're going to go on to the, we're going to put the Super Famicom. Yeah, I don't know what that says. Just let me play. Alright, see if we can get through this level here. Let's go down. And there you go. That's the beginning of Mega Man X3 or Rockman X3. Alright, so there you go. That was my pickup this time. And we got to see the differences in the Saturns and the differences in the Super Famicom and Super Nintendo with the games and all that stuff too. Controllers. So alright, until next time, I'll see you guys.